do you want to talk about that Behringer real fast? Like, does anybody care about those cheap Behringers?
All right.
Let me pull those up first, just because, I just want people to see a quick glimpse.
All right.
Behringer B215XL. Bear with me while I go through this trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
And throw it over here. Settings, present slots, share screen.
Do you think there's something to the whole, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all?
No, I don't.
I remember hearing that as when I was younger, and I think it's still somewhere there. Like something tells me, like, yeah, there's something to that.
No, not for what we do.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
If it's different, but like when we're trying to educate the community about speaker performance and, hey, this is something that's cool and this is something you probably want to avoid. I don't believe in the whole, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I believe it's perfectly within reason to just not like hammer the negatives home, right? Like say your piece and move on. But I think you should at least do that. So this is the Behringer 215XL speaker. And I've seen this come up on AVS forum and other places. And matter of fact, somebody recently, in the past couple of days, has asked me if I could review the speaker. So I acquired a set of these speakers and I listened to them and thought,
that sounds like you stole them.
I thought, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. And I listened to them for like 5 minutes and that's all I needed to know that I was done. Right. But then I went ahead and I looked at some measurements. So let me see if I can bring that up.
How about this? What if you show the measurements and I'll try to guess how they sound and then you tell me. So it's kind of like
guess.
Okay.
Kudos to you. I'm
gonna look at the measurements and see if there's any correlation with what you heard. And if I'm way off, please just say, dude, no.
All right.
You don't know how to read these graphs.
Okay.
I'm
sharing now. There you go.
Whoa. All right. So what is happening? Why is it going up and down so much? It's one thing if it's pretty smooth, but maybe it's lifted treble like we were showing with the Q acoustics, but this is up and down all over the place.
Yeah.
Like constantly changing. One thing I have to say something positive, right? A little positivity sandwich is the directivity above. What is that? 1.5 kilohertz. That's solid. Whatever they did there was
pretty dang good.
Legit.
Yeah. Huh? Pretty dang good.
But these things, see, the ups and downs, I wouldn't know the cause of them because I don't know that there's enough information in this particular graph, but I'm sure you have more information where you can tell me why those are there.
So when I looked at that, I thought, good Lord, those sometimes when you have ups and downs, it's because maybe the enclosure is tuned too high, and meaning like the Q is too high. So you're going to have a bump in bass. Sometimes that's done on purpose. You can call that a resonance, but I don't call enclosure tuning too high a resonance because I think when you call it a resonance, it almost sounds like it's accidental. But people purposely will tune enclosures to have a high Q bump. And basically they want it to have a resonant point around there. However, this particular speaker just seems like it's too small for the woofer that's used. So I don't know if this was done on purpose or if they just slapped a 15-inch woofer in there and said, make it fit. Okay. So there's that. Then there's all these little peaks and dips and things like that. And some of them, sometimes you run into it and you think, well, maybe that's just like a baffle step issue or a level matching issue in the crossover between maybe a tweeter and the woofer or something like that. And I'm looking at this thinking, what is going on? These are almost all actual resonances. And I know that because I go and I look at the impedance. And every time you see this, the blue line, I'm sorry, is the phase, but the red line is the actual impedance.
Wow.
Let me get rid of that and make it a little bit easier to see. All of these little wiggles, right? So this is the port tuning, and this little satellite here means it's tuned to about 50 hertz, give or take. But all these little wiggles are resonances of some sort. They're either the actual drive unit itself resonating, or an enclosure resonance, or maybe a port resonance if a port was here. And so yeah, you run into things like that. I don't know what's causing that resonance, that resonance, that resonance, that resonance, that resonance, that resonance, that resonance. that resonance. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 different resonances in this.
Take out the whole front and blue tack everything. Foam and blue tack will fix all that.
That's what you got to do. So, but that's why you wind up with all these little things going on, and the directivity. You know, so here's my thing. This is used by the home theater guys, and I'm sure that they were probably thinking, oh, I can just EQ it because it's a cheap speaker with a 15-inch woofer. It's probably going to go low, and it's probably going to have high sensitivity. Well, it kind of has high sensitivity, but when you start EQing some of these problems down, when you bring the sensitivity down, it does not go low, because look at that steep roll off, and it's at 100 hertz, does not go low. Now you could say I could EQ the speaker well above like 1.5 kilohertz. You probably can. You know, I think reasonably we could smooth out this response. You're going to lose some of the headroom on the sensitivity, but okay. But down here, you're not going to be able to EQ these. All these little peaks and dips, you cannot. There are resonances that you can fix with EQ, with a very narrow Q filter, and you drop it down enough, and you hit the exact frequency with a parametric EQ. You can EQ out some resonances. But when they occur back to back to back like this, your DSP is not going to be able to actually. Okay, you're going to have to manually go in with a really high powered DSP and a Q of like 20 for each of these, and bring those down. I don't see the point.
Reverend says you try to run magic beans on that, and your computer will explode.
It's a really bad design. I haven't even looked to see what it was supposed to be used for. My guess, because it comes with pole jams at the bottom, my guess is that it's just for outdoor event or something like that, just to give you some kind of sound. And hey, that's good enough. And if that's the case,
a lot of resonances though. Is it like a harmonic thing? Are they multiples of are they happening at certain increments where it's a certain thing that's causing it, and if you fix that one thing, the rest kind of go away?
I hear you. I did not even look. So let's go and just see if we can figure that out. So that's about 215. So maybe this one, it's possible that they're harmonics, but I really don't know for sure. Most of these are probably going to be like, this is probably Spider surround issue. It's probably some kind of compliance issue there. But I think a lot of these are also going to be enclosure resonance of some sort, but it sounds terrible. Now I'm curious what the
okay. So what does that end up sounding like? So we look at that. That's correlated with.
We'll go back to it. It's so bad that you can't even describe it. It's just bad. It's just bad, man.
Wonky.
Like, I don't know. Vocals never sound right. They're way boomy, and then they're very thin, like right back to back. So as you're talking, you have natural tones, and these natural tones span over a few octaves. So as these people are talking, if I'm watching a movie or I'm listening to music, as they're talking or singing, their tones sound at different levels, between 300 hertz to 400 hertz, or 200 hertz. You're 7 dB down at 200 hertz compared to 250.
Yeah,
that's a third of an octave. You're 7 dB down between those 2 points. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's a crap speaker. It's a crap speaker for home use. If you're using it in your backyard, or you're taking it to an outdoor event and you just want sound, you don't care about fidelity, sure, knock yourself out. $180 per speaker, cool, go for it. Wow. But if you're thinking you're going to buy these because somebody on the internet said it was a good buy because they were $180 and they use a 15-inch woofer so they can get low, don't do that. Do not do that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So sometimes I root for some of these companies when there's an issue that's easily fixable. Like all you have to do is just do this one thing and then it sorts it out. But it seems like there's too many little things going on here. So that's a no on that one.
That's a no. And the smaller brother of that, the 212XL, looks even, well, I don't know if I'd say it's worse, but it's probably on par with as bad as that one is. It's neither.
Yeah, well, Behringer is known for kind of copying designs.
I could live with some of the issues that it has, and you could EQ some things out, but there's just no way, man. It doesn't make any sense to try to buy that and salvage it. And you cannot get rid some of those enclosure resonances. You're not going to get rid of with equalization, and it's just not worth it.
So before we got to do the positivity sandwich, So what's an example of an enclosure of a speaker that you've measured? You don't have to show it on screen, but that has great control of resonances.
Actually, this Klipsch, I even talked about that in my review. I haven't even dropped it. I know it, dude. Huh? I know it. This Klipsch
Who are you?
Is a good speaker. It's a good speaker. I was surprised. I know people. And I even said something about it in my video. I was like, look, I know that people think I'm a Klipsch hater. I'm not. I don't hate any particular brand. Sometimes I don't like a speaker, and it happens to be that a lot of Klipsch stuff I just don't like. However, this is a good one. I like it.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, good job, Klipsch.
Yeah, good job.
Make sure to check out our audio-only version of the podcast at anchor.fm/Daily HiFi, or just go to your favorite podcasting service and search for Daily HiFi.